librarian here at Finkelstein Memorial Library, and today we're going to be putting together these great little seashell trinket dishes. We're going to be painting our little seashell, and then it will become a great little trinket dish. Before we get started, just make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out all of our great videos on YouTube, and also check out our new Instagram. It is Finkelstein Library YS, and there's a lot of great content that we're posting for teens on that Instagram page, so check it out. Okay, so for your craft, inside of your craft kit, you're going to have your paint pots. You're going to have some blue, some gold, and a little bit of white. You will have your shell, a paintbrush, and don't forget to get yourself a little cup of water and some paper towels to have ready for your project. I've also just grabbed a little sheet of wax paper here to give myself a nice little clean surface to work on so I don't get any paint anywhere. All right, so now that my workstation is all set up, if you want, you can go online and check out some inspiration pics. I just like this idea of this simple kind of making it swirly, look a little bit like an ocean wave. So that is the effect I'm going for, and I only painted just the rim gold, but you can paint it however you please, whatever makes you happy, but we're going to be doing this one for now. So I'm going to take my seashell, carefully open my paint pots. They can be a little bit tricky. You don't want to get any paint splattered anywhere, so try to do it carefully. Okay, so my paint is ready. So since I'm going for this kind of oceany effect, I'm going to start in the middle here. Your paint is, you're going to want to layer it up to get a really nice saturated color like I have in the middle there. So I'm going to start, I'll just dip my brush in, and I'm going to start back here at the base. And I'm just going to work with the natural shape of the shell and use that as my guide. So I'm going to kind of give it some little swipes to just start spreading some of the paint out so then I can build on it. I'm just going to kind of follow the shape of the shell a little bit. I'm going to put it down though because I don't have very steady hands, so the table is very helpful for me. So I'm going to follow that natural inner shape of the shell and kind of mark out sort of the outline of where this is going to go, and just sort of spread the paint through. And it's good to do it this way and kind of go a little bit at a time and build it, because you can't build the color all in one go because it kind of rubs off. But also this is going to give us a nice kind of gradient effect if we build it this way. So start really light, and you'll see as it dries it gets a little lighter. So I start really light and I give those real like kind of swishy strokes there to just start to build that little bit of a gradient. I'll blow on it a little bit, and then you'll see it, each layer will dry pretty quickly if you keep the layers light. So I'll go in with another one, and again just kind of put the most paint down sort of in the base there to get a nice saturation, and then just sort of spread it out from there. And I think I'm going to extend my blue just a little bit further towards the tip of the shell, but with each kind of pass through, I'm going to kind of go less further out so that I get that nice kind of gradient. And I'm also leaving some space right here up at the front for my white. That way I really have some room to give it that kind of oceany swirl up top with the white and have the colors fade nicely. All right, little blow, and we'll go in with another pass. So I'm going to really, instead of stroking at the base of it to get that color really in there, you want to swipe a little less and kind of use the brush just to sort of like plop the color in there and sort of deposit the color. So I'm not really brushing it hard at the base to get that color in there. I'm just sort of using the brush to dab the color in a little bit. And then I'll extend it out a little bit. little bit of those holes, but it's okay if it's not a perfect gradient. It makes it look a little bit more realistic when there's kind of some patches of light and dark, because that's what the water over the sand looks like when you're looking out at it. So it makes it look a little more natural if it's a little bit patchy, actually. And as Bob Ross says, there are no accidents, just happy little mistakes. Or I think I said that wrong. There are no mistakes, just happy little accidents. There it is. No mistakes, just happy little accidents. Usually those happy little accidents turn out kind of making things a little more realistic looking. Okay, so have a pretty nice color going so far. I'll put just a little dab more in the base there, but I think that's looking pretty good. Since it's a little thicker, it's going to take another minute to dry, and it does lighten up a little bit when it dries, so I'll let that dry for a moment and we'll see how we're doing. So now I'm going to rinse my brush off, and I'm going to go in for the white. I'm going to use just the corner of my brush. I'm not going to stick the whole thing in the white. I'm going to use just the corner to pick up some color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the outside and work my way in. So I'm going to start out here with my white and kind of put some down and start to just kind of swirl it in. I'll grab a little more on the corner of my brush and I'll start to just swirl it a little bit, work it into the blue, and make these nice sort of like swirly motions just to get it all sort of mixing together. And now once you go into the blue a little bit with the brush and you have some of that blue on your brush, it's really going to be in there. So unless you want some of that blue on the outside now, you're going to want to kind of rinse it off in between. That way you're not depositing blue color around the outer edge if you want to keep that edge white. So I'm going to go clean my brush off, go back into my white, pick up some white, add it to the outer rim of the shell here, and then start to kind of just swirl upwards. I think I'll use a little more white and keep it swirling here. And it's okay to go kind of in the middle a little bit with the white too, because that is how the waves in the ocean work, right? So we'll do some more swirling, deposit a little white there. And just kind of, I'm just sort of working a little bit of white in and back. That way I get a little bit more of a gradient over here. And then I'll go back over it with some more white. I think I'm actually going to pick up just a tiny bit of the blue on my brush because the blue towards the edge has sort of dried. So I want a little bit of wet blue. That way I can swirl those colors a little bit better. I'll pick up a little more white, work my way this way, and even though I have blue on my brush right now, I'm kind of sticking into the blue zone of the shell, so it'll stay pretty clean on the edge still. And now you can really take your time to get it just how you want it. I spent definitely a little bit more time on that one, swirling it around, but just to keep the video nice and short, I'll call that good enough for now. But please feel free to keep working on yours, keep getting it so you sort of get those swirls just right. And if something kind of comes out the way you don't like it, just step away for a moment, let it dry off a little bit, and then come back to it and you'll be able to kind of paint over it. Okay, so we'll call that good enough for this. It looks pretty good, not too bad. Not as blended as my other one, but again, I spent more time on that. So now that that's all done, I'm just gonna grab the gold and I am gonna choose, you can do this however you like, but I've chosen to paint this whole back side in the gold. And now you might wanna wait until your blue is, again, I'm doing this just to keep the video quicker. You might wanna wait till your blue is a little bit more dry, that way you don't accidentally pick up the blue and swipe it into your gold area. But I'm just gonna be kind of careful and go around the edge here. So if you have a steady hand and you think you can be careful, you'll probably do a good job of avoiding that blue. But if you pick up just a little bit of that blue, it'll wind up in your gold and it'll look a little funny. So I'm gonna go in, and again, you can go back over this. I did kind of a few a few layers of gold on the bottom here to get that really nice and saturated and solid. So gold there, and then just be careful as you're holding it around the edges. You're likely to get a little bit of gold paint on your fingers, so don't touch yourself. And now I'm going to follow this line of the shell right here, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag the gold here sort of along this area, and then just start to bring it only to the edge. Again, you can do it however you like, but this is how I'm choosing to do mine. And I'm just going to use the brush to just gently deposit some gold along this outer rim, which just really gives it a nice little polished look, and it really really accentuates this cool kind of rugged natural shape of the shell. It's these shells are very delicate, so they really break along the edges here, but there's something kind of beautiful about that, so it's nice to sort of outline it a little bit and highlight it. Gives it a great little effect. Okay, so I'm going to follow my rim and do that. Now if I wanted to, I think I went back on this one and I kind of extended the blue out back a little bit. That way it kind of fanned out this way a little more instead of being sort of just in the center like this one is. But this one's just as nice too. And that is basically it. And once it's all good and all dry, you can go ahead and use this to stick little trinkets in, little pieces of paper or jewelry or whatever it is you want to use your little trinket dish for. And that is your shell trinket dish.